Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday, December 29th, 2020 meeting of the Ashland Zoning Board of Appeals. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded by WACA-TV to be broadcast at a later time. It is not being broadcast live this evening. The town of Ashland, in response to the COVID-19 coronavirus, is currently following the guidance from the Ashland Board of Health, Massachusetts Department of Public Health, and the CDC regarding the virus and steps communities can take to prevent the spread. In accordance with the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20, all public meetings are being conducted remotely. On the agenda for tonight's meeting, there is a link for members of the public to join the meeting via Zoom, and there's also a telephone number listed for someone to call in. I will call the meeting to order, and we will do a brief roll call just to identify which members of the board are present this evening. I, John Trefethen, am present.
I, Stu Siegel, am present.
I, Brian Forrestall, am present.
I, Chuck Green, am present.
Emma?
Emma Stellings, assistant planner and president.
We wanted to give you full credit for being here tonight.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. The first item on the agenda this evening is the continued public hearing for the special permit request at 10 Metcalf. This matter was continued from December 15th, 2020. The board heard evidence at that date, had a discussion amongst the three members of the board that are sitting on this decision, Stuart Siegel, Brian Forrestall, and myself. We discussed the evidence and asked Emma to draft a decision consistent with our discussion that evening, which would grant the special permit requested. We received a draft decision last week, and I've reviewed it. I'm assuming Brian and Stu also have reviewed it. Emma, were there any changes to the draft decision that you submitted to the board?
Yes. The first, Stu commented that in our last decision, the one on Union Street, we included a condition that specified that the applicant needed to adhere to bylaw 5.4, which is the buffering regulation between a parking area and the street. And he thought it might be appropriate to include that condition in this decision. I do have that language handy. So we stated the applicant shall comply with bylaw chapter 282, section 5.4.1.2, which requires landscape buffers between the parking area and street at least 6 feet in depth. So if others agree, I can put that in to the decision. Well, okay. Yes, Steve.
Emma, if I could clarify that, I was concerned that we should also state the fact that the applicant was willing to provide a buffer for the abutter in terms of a fence of some sort. So that would also be included in 5.4, correct?
I believe so. I can pull up the language in the bylaw.
5.4.1 provides screening and perimeter landscaping. Commercial, service, and industrial uses shall be separated from the street and from adjacent residential districts by landscape
Correct.
buffer areas. I think that's the only provision that we need to have in the hearing decision. I'm not sure whether what the applicant had provided by way of parking qualifies as a parking area, because 5.4.1.2 refers to parking areas being screened from the front lot line. And we don't have a parking area abutting the front line like we did in the East Union Street project, where the parking area was right on the sidewalk. In this instance, the plan that was submitted by the applicant provides for, I believe it was 4 parking spaces behind the building. So I don't think 5.4.1.2 would apply, but I do think screening 5.4.1 about adjacent might apply.
Correct. I was suggesting that we ensure that the abutter has the opportunity to have some sort of fencing put in for a buffer. That was my concern, and I think that should be added to the conditions portion of this document.
Okay, well, perhaps we could have that as a condition without referring to the specific section of the ZBA, the bylaws rather, excuse me. Brian, thoughts on that? Oops, you're muted.
You were still muted, Brian.
I'm in agreement. We can add those conditions.
Okay. Emma, do you have the language that that you need to add?
Yes, so the condition will state that the applicant will provide, fencing on the adjacent lot line, on the lot line that has a residential property adjacent. I can add that, and I'll remove the reference to the bylaw.
Okay. And were there any other changes that were suggested from the draft decision that you had submitted?
Yes, Nathan submitted 2 brief edits. One was an extra parenthesis that I took out, and he suggested changing meetings on the first page, referencing the public hearing meetings from plural to singular. But I believe that since the public hearing is open today, that it should stay plural.
I would agree with that. There are 2 days for this hearing.
Okay, so, and those were all of the edits that I received.
Okay, I thought I had submitted a suggestion that on the first page, the date that the board voted should be changed to today, not December 15th, which is what the draft had read.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. Yes, I can make that edit.
Okay. Well, I know I had sort of confused everything by sending something else that was totally in the wrong spot. So, okay.
Okay, yeah, so that first date on the first page is now December 29th.
Okay. Okay. Any discussion about the draft decision? I think it adequately addresses the issues that we had to address, namely section 3.3, the non-conforming use, and also sections 9.2.2 and 9.3.1 with the appropriate findings. Everybody satisfied with the language there? Stu, Brian?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm good with it.
Well then, are we ready to vote? To vote on this? I would say we are.
I make a motion, we vote.
Okay, sounds good to me.
I second that motion.
Okay, excellent. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. We're good. Okay. I, John Trefethen, vote to approve the application for the special permit with the conditions attached in the hearing decision, and approve the hearing decision that has been prepared for us with the changes we've discussed this evening.
I, Brian
Stu Siegel,
Forstall.
also. Go ahead, Brian.
Stu.
No, go ahead.
I, Brian Forstall, vote to approve the special permit with the attached conditions.
I, Stu Siegel, also vote in the affirmative to approve the proposal.
Excellent. I think one thing we're going to have to do is, as long as we're having Zoom meetings, we're going to have to establish a list of who says what first and going down, so we don't run into the problem that we seem to be having, which is understandable. Emma, is there anything else we need to do for this hearing decision?
Yes,
I think
just-
we do have to address the issue of signing it.
And you'll have to close the public hearing.
Oh. Okay, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor? Aye, John Trefethen in favor.
Aye,
I,
Brian
Stu
Forstall
Siegel, in favor. I, Stu Siegel, am also in favor.
Okay, we've got 3 in favors there. I heard them. Okay, and we've approved the hearing decision. Now we have to discuss the issue of only one signature on the decision. Okay. As we have done in the past with the Zoom, well, since we've been meeting via Zoom, rather than all 3 of us having to go into town hall to sign the decision, we have authorized just one member of the board to sign. I have been willing to do it in the past, and I will agree to do it again if that meets with the pleasure of the other board members.
Works for me.
Okay. And Stu, you all set
It's
with
okay.
that? Okay.
It's okay with me also.
Now we have to take a formal vote on that, don't we, Emma?
I think we have in the past. So.
Yeah. I, John Trefethen, agree that the signature of one member of the ZBA is all that will be required. Stu?
I, Brian Forstall, agree, one signature works.
And Stu?
I, Stu Siegel, also agree that one signature works.
Okay, very good. Then I think that concludes this matter. Attorney Connors, thank you very much. Mr. Reardon, I see your name here. Thank you. That concludes this matter.
Thank you and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well, sir.
Thank you.
Going on to the next item on our agenda, which is the review of the minutes from the December 15th, 2020 meeting. Once again, Emma had distributed a draft of the minutes. I had, were there any suggested changes on those minutes, Emma?
John, you noted that the public comment needed to be added to the documents list. And that,
Correct, that's, and there was also a very minor typographical issue or grammatical issue. I thought
yes.
the word "the" should be added someplace, but where we don't have numbered lines. At least I didn't on the copy of the minutes that I have. I'm not going to try and point it out to you because it's somewhat hidden.
Yes, I found the spot you mentioned, and I
Okay,
added.
great. Any other comments or questions about the minutes? Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
So
Make a
moved.
motion to approve the minutes. All right, so moved.
Is there a second?
I have a second.
All in favor? Aye. Chuck, you're allowed to vote on this. You were there at the meeting.
Oh, that's awesome. I'll vote approve.
Okay. I didn't want you to feel left out.
I love the adjourn part.
Okay, well, the minutes are approved, and we go on to any staff update. Easy for me to say. Any staff updates or administrative matters?
So as I mentioned at the last meeting, we do have another special permit application on the books for January 12th. Those materials are online, and I'll be emailing out to the board shortly with the agenda and those materials. And then you mentioned, John, that you don't have line numbers on your minutes, and I'm wondering if it'd be more helpful if I sent them in a PDF version so that the line numbers are maintained regardless of how you open it. Does anyone like use Word features when they review the minutes, or would a PDF be okay?
It would be okay for me. I know sometimes when I print the minutes, because I usually print them out because for me it's easier to read them when they're printed rather than just online. Sometimes there are line numbers on them, and sometimes they're not, and I never quite know why that is. But
Yeah,
for me,
so
it's
in my
easier
document,
when there are corrections or proposed changes. It's much easier to just refer to a line number than, you know, fourth paragraph from the top, fifth line down, eighth word over. It doesn't work very easily for me. I don't know about Stu or Brian or Chuck, you know, how they feel about it, but I think it would be helpful.
Yeah, so in my document, the line numbers are there, and I'm wondering if the different settings in everyone's different Word programs are maybe toggling them on and off.
Oh,
but if I send it
okay.
as a PDF, you'll always have them, but you can't like type, you know, in the document. So.
Well, I mean, my thought would be none of us should probably be, well, I suppose we could insert changes in draft minutes and send them back and, you know, put the changes in a typed form, which in a PDF you can't really do. You know, I'm not computer literate enough to know what my settings in Word are that don't allow it to, don't have the numbers, but I haven't changed any settings knowingly, and sometimes I've gotten them in the past and other times I haven't. So, I mean, for me, it would be helpful to just to do a PDF. I think it would be fine.
Yeah, maybe I'll send it out in both formats moving forward, and we can figure out what everyone prefers.
Okay, that would work.
Great. That is all the updates I've got.
Okay, very good. Well, I guess the chair would entertain a motion
to adjourn.
to adjourn. That motion came from Mr. Forrestal. And is there a second?
I second it.
Okay, that came from Mr. Siegel. All in favor? Aye, John Trefethan in favor.
Aye, Ryan Forrest, all in favor.
I, Stu Siegel, I'm in favor.
Chuck, are you in favor of adjourning? Or do you want to abstain? Whoops, you
As
muted.
soon as I figure out how to unmute myself, I'll
Okay.
vote in favor.
Excellent. Then this meeting is adjourned.
All right.
Thank you, everybody, and have a happy new year.
Yeah.
Thanks. Happy New Year. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Happy New Year.